I don't know. Right. And obviously he doesn't know because he was shot in the back. So shot twice in the back and then fell to the ground and clearly perished in that spot, or at least something very close to that spot. But the funny thing was when I was lying there and I was looking up, I saw a completely different tree than what's there today. So that was something that was really interesting too, because it was not the same, vegetation. Like now there's literally no trees. They've gutted, they cleaned the hill and they've replanted. But yeah, the tree that I saw was not the tree that was, although I'd fallen to the ground and there was a tree behind me, it wasn't the same tree that I was seeing over my head at the time. So it was just a really odd experience. And I get a lot of those in and around that area, no matter what, Niagara on the Lake, the outskirts of St. David or Queenston Heights, or, just, I don't know what it is. I mean, I will say, yes, it is very haunted there, Ian. Okay, because we're going to get on that topic of the most haunted little town. It is haunted, definitely haunted. Whether it's the most haunted, I don't know. I've had experiences in other locations that supersede what's happened. So for me, I'm going to say in my personal experience, it is not the most haunted, but that's my own personal experience. So, it's okay to say, it's not that I'm going to say, because to somebody else, they could have had way more experiences there than I did. And we've talked about this, Rachel and I, before too, because we all don't experience things the same. So some people may have, felt that way. I think some of that is, of course, a great marketing tool. Right? Mm-hmm. Although but the town itself will not admit to that. They do not use that for their marketing. They will not go in that direction. So if you talk about the Prince of Wales Hotel and it being haunted, or if you talk about any of the other ones, the hotel chain will get really mad at you. You cannot talk about that. You are not allowed. I worked for the chain, and so I know this. Yeah. I have a friend who's a manager at the Prince of Wales Hotel. You cannot mention, even if a customer says it to you, you cannot say it to them that it is haunted.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it just depends on the property. I
don't want people too afraid to stay there.
Well, exactly. I think that what happens is there's a lot of foreign people that come in, and a lot of them are very superstitious, right? Chinese people do not want to stay somewhere where it's haunted. Most Asian people don't. So I get it. I get that, you don't want to propel that that sort of image. Although, like I said, the Angel Inn certainly, I think, was probably the first location that advertised a haunted location in Niagara on the Lake. So that's just a little bit of history there. But, for people who go there as tourists, I think they're just too wrapped up in the hubbub and the crowds and to appreciate the interesting, area outside the downtown. Unless it's the fort. But I think most people miss the Fort Mississauga. They don't even know it exists.
They don't even know it's there. Yeah.
No, they don't know it's there.
If you're on Queen Street, which is the main street, you can barely see it across the golf course.
No, you can't. And you don't really know what it is anyway.
Yeah.
Right? You can't tell. They don't advertise it in town. It's not really marked as a destination or a tourist. I hope once they get it fixed up, maybe it will become one. But my understanding is that the members of the golf club don't like that,
they don't like the undertones of a haunting, because it just carries something with it. And people instantly believe it, don't they? Some people... they probably don't want to deter business. Whereas
I don't even think it is the haunting. It's just the fort itself. They just don't really acknowledge it at all. Like it's, most people don't even know there's two forts in Niagara on the Lake. Everybody talks about Fort George, but nobody talks about Fort Mississauga. But like I said, there's some really great, interesting spots there that are outside of the downtown. But when you go into town, it's so busy there that I think you just get lost in the chaos of the tourism, right? So it's nice that there
there's
are
a lot of great little shops and restaurants and.
There is and there isn't. I mean, I'm of two minds of Niagara on the Lake. It's really pretty. It's so cute, but everything is so priced out of anybody's possible pocketbook in that town now that, it's become, I think 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when they had art galleries and they had all kinds of things. There's not very many galleries in town anymore. They've lost most of that. It's a lot of high-end women's clothing now. And frankly, and I mean, some of the restaurants are good. It's got a few nice little places to eat and that, but it's really now the destination is because people are going to the Shaw Theater. And because Shaw has three stages there, right? So they go there for the theater. And that's for the most part, I think a huge chunk of their tourism dollars come from Shaw now. And so it's, I don't know, it's kind of not as interesting as it used to be. I mean, I went there, in my 20s, in my 30s, and I preferred it better then than I do now. I think that it had a little bit more going for it back then. There was a lot more variety in the stores and a lot more interesting shops. But, I mean, on a whole, as a tourist destination, it works really well. I mean, they've marketed it correctly. They've got, they do what they do. You go there, you walk around. There's kind of lots to see. Sort of like going to Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, that kind of thing, right? You sort of, or like I say, like Ogdensburg, right? Same idea, very much the same as that. It's, I mean, Remington Galleries in town there. You've got little restaurants and you've got all of that too, right? But it's a cool spot. I mean, it's certainly, there's some stories tied to it. And your friend's book again, Ian, just so that people, if they're interested.
Yeah, Ghosts of Niagara on the Lake by Andrew Hind and Maria De Silva.
All right. And do you know where that's, like, can the people buy that on Amazon or can they get that?
Oh, yeah, it's on Amazon.
Okay.
You can buy it, in your local bookstore, Indigo Chapters.
Yep. Right. Okay, good. So that's good to know. Well, that's great. And Ian's got a story that he contributed to the book.
Yeah.
And, so that's kind of a neat thing. So, guys, we are now like 5 minutes to the end of the show.
We are.
Wow.
How does that happen every week? I do not know where the time goes. I wish it would stop doing that. It just seems to fly by.
Is there anything else, Ian, that you sort of want to cap off the show with? Is there? I mean, I'd like to hear about your investigation.
Yeah.
Well, just quickly, Niagara on the Lake is home to one of the oldest apothecaries still in existence.
It's a cool building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. The haunted story of that is the people that work in there. They hear footsteps, they feel cold spots, they'll come in the morning and papers are scattered on the floor. Mm-hmm. They will smell medicinal herbs that are not kept on the premises. And nothing has ever been proven as to what is causing these, I guess we'll call poltergeist phenomenon, the hauntings.
Anomalies.
Is it an old, long-time pharmacist that worked there? Or another theory that I've heard is that it is a judge from the courthouse who used to have his offices in that building before it became the apothecary.
Yes, before it became the apothecary, Mm-hmm. I've heard that too. So interesting. It's a beautiful building. It's now a tourist attraction. I mean, it's still got a lot of its original stuff in the counters, the storage, the light fixtures are phenomenal. Definitely worth going into. It's a museum now, really more than anything, but you can still buy things in there, and that's kind of cool too, right? So it's got some historical items and candy, old-timey candy, and you can buy Florida water and some fragrances and stuff like that. So very cool. Really, there's like I said, there's always so many stories, and it's so hard to just get everything in. But I think we did a pretty good job today. Now, next week, we're supposed to have our reading show, Rachel.
Yes, we are. And
I
have some people that are interested in giving us some questions.
So Ian,
are
you going to join us for that? Just in terms, Rachel and I are doing readings. So if you've got any, do you want to join us for that one, or do you want to sit that one out?
I'm probably going to take that episode off because it really has no reflection on any of the work that I've done or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. So Ian will not join us next week.
You might know somebody
Rachel and
that has a question.
That's right. But if you know anyone, Ian, that might want to have a question answered, you can always forward them to me, and we can do that. So we're going to leave it at that. Yeah. So guys, next week it'll be Rachel and I. It's a live reading show. We're going to kind of do it the same as we did before. We're going to take questions for the first hour. We're going to open up the phone lines for the second hour, and that'll be that. So with that, everybody, thank you again for joining us, and I will say good afternoon. And you guys, if you want to say bye to everyone.
Take care. Thank you for listening. Look forward to speaking to you next week.
Have a good afternoon, everybody.
Excellent. Thanks, and take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
We'll catch you again next week. Bye now. Thanks for listening to Down the Rabbit Hole.